because of the Sexual Justice Society Center. So establish companies and benefiting principles, creating a simple logo with a complete rebrand and delivering physical and speaking this week. Everything SOS graphic design does has a single unifying objective. That's your business department. Here at Secure Service, call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166 or online at www.solsgraphicdesign.com. Check out the Institute of Senior Living and Natural Justice Line, located at 1800701. Our new Salami spaces with active parking, Wi-Fi, and all rooms in the front Salami place. Come use the local hair braiding and natural hair specialist. And check out our many hair braid services, which is hair treatment, box braid, download, two-way, analysis, business braid, natural split, lock extension, split, dollar block, updo, school weeds, and more. Please feel free to visit us on the web at www.weeklybraid.com or call 313-826-0498. Here at Sister's Braid, we offer special care for professional hair. We look forward to seeing you. Sister's Braid 2 is a proud assistant of the
Now you can watch WHCR TV 33 on Fire Stick. Get all of your favorites. Stay informed. Don't miss a minute of your favorite talk show. Call, text, tweet, code, WHCR Smart TV 33 worldwide with Fire Stick. For more information, go to firesticknetwork.com or call us 313-866-6622. WHCR 33 from Watson Broadcasting Company. Visit the website www.unity-and-rebuilding.com. You also hear how you need to work. You can make online donations and click on links to start the process. You're watching WHPS, Island Park, Detroit. FM 88.1 WHCR, Island Park, WCIE 107.3 FM show, Almonia, Virgin Islands. From the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHCS, its affiliates, managers, or sponsors.
The recording has started. This conference is being recorded.
Every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Sunday at 12 noon on WHCR TV Detroit Live, 88.1 FM WHCR, and podcast table. Why don't you call and discuss the Holy Bible? And if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to a decision about the Holy Scriptures, and to include you, you can call us on the air at area code 313-668-4336, 313-868-0314, or 323-868-0351, that's 313-868-0343, or 313-868-0351. And now, let's go live with a scriptural discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet you all who hunger and thirst for the true understanding of the word of Allah. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's salam alaikum. We want to give those who have disagreement with us. The first thing we want to do is let those who disagree with us express what it is that you disagree with us on, and we will open up a dialogue with you to, if necessary, explain ourselves. That is what civilized knowledge forces upon the civilized person, recognizing that despite the bad example that you have seen in the uh, or I should say that you have taken from watching the animal kingdom, you came away with the wrong lesson. Even though the lions, the tigers, and the bears, if you put one of us in a cage with one of them in his natural state and in our natural state, it would appear that we are the weaker vessel. And because you have been misguided, thinking that man is an animal, and I would love to have any scientists come in and put forth arguments justifying saying man is an animal. And I will show you that your argument makes as much sense to a civilized man as the argument that if you sail out too far on the ocean, you will fall off the earth. You pride yourselves in being intelligent, and yet you have not found any animal that can do, I should say, any other animal that can do what man can do. If you look at any other animal, a fish is not the only aquatic animal that can swim. A horse is not the only land creature that can run. But everything that you see those creatures, for instance, an eagle is not the only fowl of the air that can fly. But man is a creature that even though that's not natural for him, he can do everything they can do. And then some. So as long as you thought that man was an animal, the lesson that you draw, or the lesson that you drew from the strongest, the fittest, is the one that survives. You mistaught yourself. You made a misjudgment because you didn't take the time to think about the fact that you are not stronger than a horse, yet you can make the horse do things that the horse wouldn't normally do just by commanding him. So whenever a creature is one of those dumb creatures, makes the mistake of deciding that he's going to prey upon man, man ends his life because he was stupid enough, he was dumb enough to think that his brute strength was what was going to make him prey upon man. It's people make that mistake now. They think that because they have bombs and bullets and all of these things, you think that you can just prey on me. You can prey on the black man and do whatever you want to do to him. I warned you. Now remember, I did warn you. So you go ahead, suit yourself. Since you think brute force is what rules and governs the universe. Did brute force teach you how to go? Did you get out the atmosphere of the earth and come learn how to get back here without burning up from brute force? Or was it some hidden figures that some black women showed you? The messenger said, brother, our wives are far better than we think they are, because some of them can guide some of us. There's proof of that. The white man came out and showed you that the black woman guided him out there on how to get out there in space and get back here.
You are not the Son of Man.
Well, you're welcome to tell people why not.
And you can take those sunglasses.
Just a moment. Now you got all of this stuff here. You sound like a crazy man. You don't come into a meeting and where someone has welcomed you in and you come in like you just did. You sound like you need
some. Doesn't even wear sunglasses.
You sound like you need some mental help. Now, if you keep this up, I'm gonna just cut you off. Now, you told the people that I'm not the Son of Man. Now, tell them why.
Because the Son of Man has already come and gone.
Well, then how come the world has not ended? The scripture prophesies that the Son of Man, when he does come, he ain't gonna go. It said, of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end. Well, why isn't there peace all over the earth now, since you say the Son of Man have come and gone? You see, I'm past all of this insulting people. I'm not going to be insulting people. Even when they insult me, I'm not to do that. Because just because a person insults you don't mean that they lying. They may not be mature enough to know how to be respectful. But just because they didn't know how to present what they said, that don't make it wrong. You still have to let them put it forth, lest those who hear may say, well, he didn't like the way the man talked and he kicked him out. Well, that's fine. But what about what the man said? Now, here's a man that tells me that the judge of the world have been here and gone, and meaning the world is in bad shape right now, so that judge didn't do too much. I notice you're not talking now. What is that all you had to say?
If anyone is going to be the Son of Man, the closest to it, it would be Louis Farrakhan.
Well, then why are you in here listening to me?
Some things you say do have merit.
No. Wait a minute. If Minister Farrakhan is the Son of Man, then what do you want to listen to someone lesser than him for? Do you know what that's an indictment against you? That's like a person that claims that they want to work or they love the daylight, but the only time you see them come out is when the stars is shining.
When you said you was going to vote for the white man the other night, and the white man's devil, you just contradicted.
Well, you don't know what you see. That's your problem. White skin don't make people devils. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that. How come Minister Farrakhan ain't taught you that? You know what you do. You actually even sound like a white man. But that's no big deal to me. Because I don't know what, maybe you're highly educated by them and you've been so indoctrinated that you think that that's what intelligence sounds like. But if you really were intelligent, you would not have to try to sound intelligent. You would just speak and be yourself. There's no such thing as an intelligent sound. So you see, this is what most of you don't realize. You're the one being left behind, not me. There was a time when you could have came in here and pushed a button and had me go off and all that kind of thing. That day gone. I'm comfortable in my skin. Is that the best you can do?
You are not the Son of Man because you spend most of your time trying to convince everybody you're the
No,
Son of Man.
sir. I ain't doing nothing but reading the scriptures to people. The scriptures spent the time trying to convince you for the past 4,000 years. But since you didn't understand the scriptures, just like what you just said, you told me I'm not the Son of Man. That's proof that you didn't understand the scriptures.
You are not the Son of Man.
See, now you being redundant. You sound like a child. When I was in elementary school, when children did that, that's how we did with each other. You tell somebody something, and they wouldn't have nothing else they could say to defend what they said, so they just keep saying the same thing. You notice when you talk to me, I don't become a broken record. I hear you, and then I respond. I notice you didn't even respond when I said, well, why did you say that? when I told you that the mere fact you sit there and told me I'm not the Son of Man is proof you didn't understand the scriptures.
You would be with the
Aren't you going to want me to prove that after I offered you? Now there you go. Now you're trying to overtalk me.
No.
Now you know you don't have the right. You don't have the right. You don't have the right to come in here and overtalk me. Now you claim that you've been taught by a civilized man, I guess Minister Farrakhan, but then what? Why you don't know how to conduct yourself in another man's house? Do you stand up in Minister Farrakhan's meeting and do this? What you doing now?
No, I do not, because he does not sit there and wear shades.
Oh, no, well, that's not your business. What kind of glasses I wear? That's not your business. Tell me something. Tell me something. Do you dress like you want to dress? Do you put on what you want to put on? I got one for you. Here it is. If I take a notion to jump out in the ocean, ain't nobody's business here but me. Well, Bessie Smith taught you that a long time ago. It ain't your business what kind of glasses I wear. You know, that is an old saying. I learned this from white people. White people said when people cannot, now I heard them say it a long time ago. When people cannot attack the message, they attack the messenger. You see, now he still haven't dealt with what I said. I'm trying to show you that I don't have to run from anybody. They all running from me. You see, he running.
There's only one
you notice.
And he has
you notice.
On.
No. Which messenger are you talking about? Jesus, Moses, David, Solomon, or who? Who are you talking about? Only one messenger.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Well, I'll tell you what. Then if that's true, then you still can't explain to me why are you in here?
I mean, make sure you don't say anything to disrespect the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
You know, that sounds like, I think this is a devil that's trying to, stoke some fires here. But understand something. You ain't the devil because you white. You the devil because of what you hear coming out your mouth. You see? So now I'm going to dismiss you now. Now you go on about your business. You know, that stuff about putting one against the other and all that. I'm not against Minister Farrakhan. I'm just against what Minister Farrakhan teaches. You see, I'm not against you. I'm just against the foolishness that's coming out of your brain. You see. So now the next time you come in here, now that I know your voice, the next time you come in here wrong, I'm just going to have the brother dismiss you. Now, the next time you come into my class, the first thing I want to hear out of your mouth is, son of man, I'm sorry for my disrespect. And if you can't say that, don't come back, because I'm not going to talk to you no more. Yeah. Now, like the scripture says, brothers and sisters, when Jesus was talking about the coming of the Son of Man, he said, no man knows who the Son is but the Father. Neither any man who the Father is but the Son, and he to whom the Son will reveal him. So the mere fact he came in here telling me I'm not the Son of Man tells you that he don't know the scripture, which is what I told you in the first place. You see? And since he says I'm wrong for trying to get you to believe in me, the scripture told you you have to believe in me. If you don't believe in me, you're going to be like him, lost. How many of y'all want to be like this man? A disrespectful, sorry individual. You know, it's just like in here. If a person comes in here with their pants down on their behind, I would demand that they pull them up or go back out. But if I see him out on the street with his pants sagging on his behind, I don't say nothing to him. You know why? Because he could tell me there ain't none of your business. And even though I could say something because it is my business, because it's my planet. But I don't say nothing because you cannot judge people by your laws and what you understand. You can only judge people if you want to give them justice by what they understand. And since don't nobody know that I'm the Son of Man until I make them know by revealing the truth to them, and even when I'm doing that, they don't have sense enough to know that that's revealing who I am too. But you know, I'm used to people like that, like this. I've been dealing with people like you for the past 43 years. So pardon me if you don't get a rise out of me. I mean, I been there and did that. See, you can't even come up with nothing new. Everything you doing is a repeat of the thoughts of a foolish man. So I want all of you, when you hear foolishness come out of the mouth of people for apparently no reason, it is because they are trying to provoke you to be foolish with them. Do you understand? Now what? You gonna give yourself to the control of a fool? The messenger said this. He said, we don't want our people acting unrighteous, regardless to who acts unrighteous towards us. We must not do so ourselves, since we represent ourselves as being righteous. Then we be righteous. You see? So, I just gave you a lesson. Remember I told you, people that don't take the lesson become the lesson. We don't waste anything. Nothing in this universe is wasted. It's going to be used for something. And you see how I just taught you a good lesson with him? You see. So, there's lots of things that I want to share with you. And when Allah pleases, He makes lessons come forth for me to share with you. Just like we set the universe and the force in the universe, that anything that's out there hidden from our view, the universe eventually reveals it to us. We did that. You see, there's nothing hidden that what? That the light shall not make manifest. You see, that's a prophecy, and it's a reality. Even things that you find buried in the earth, as the earth burns out material. Where's that material coming from that went in that tree? The tree is pulling it out of the earth through its roots. Well, then how come the earth don't get used up? Because it's being replenished. So that which is way up under there is being forced up, pulled up, and everything that's buried under there, eventually, you're going to see it. Do you understand? These are truths that is too, you know, as it says, wisdom is too high for a fool. Yes. So, you know, it amazes me how people try to convince me of something that their actions tell me they're not convinced of. Why did I say that? Now, why would you try to convince me that you think somebody else is wise, wiser than me, but you ain't over there listening to them? Huh? Whenever my followers meet someone that has something to say, especially if it's something that I'm teaching, they say it's wrong. My followers don't stand around trying to argue with you about what I teach. My followers don't. Those who think they need to be teachers, they do that. But my followers, they don't. They just get me on the phone and say, yeah, tell him it's wrong. And you see, I know how people do you. You know, it's just like, you know, one of the lessons that I learned as hindsight is always, you know how you do something. Have you ever said, I wish I hadn't did that? You ain't said that but once. How many times you done said that? Yeah. You know, I mean, I've said it a lot of times. Surely man is created what? In haste. And there's another reason, there's another meaning of that for you now. The reason that you said you wish you hadn't did that was because the judgment that you made about doing it, you didn't see no reason not to. So you went and did it. And you came to a hasty judgment. Why? Because when you don't have much to go on, then you don't have much to deliberate about. And you say, well, look like this. Now I'm going to do this. And you go do it. And then when you look back, you say, oh, man, I wish I hadn't did that. Huh? When you saw the result of doing that didn't give you the reward that you was looking for. And so you learned the lesson. You was created in that haste. You see? The mind that's in you is being created if you pay attention to it, what you did in haste. Now, most people, they you know, hard-headed people, you can't tell them nothing. You know, that's where I go back to, I think his name was Paul Harvey, where he said, the wise man does not just use his mind. The wise man learns to use the minds of all of those around him. And, you know, when you getting ready to do something and somebody who may have did it longer than you and been around longer than you doing it, sometimes can save you some mistakes if you got sense enough to, if they are magnanimous enough to share some knowledge with you. But I warn you, when someone that has wisdom tries to or makes an attempt to share knowledge with you and you throw it on the ground, you ain't gonna have to worry about them sharing it with you no more, because they know that you are a foolish person. Wise people love correction. Fools think correction is an insult. Do you understand? You see? So, so I want you to be wise. Now I want you to hear. Now you see, the man that I was speaking to, he's not as foolish as you may have thought. Why? Do you hear him throwing insults now? You know, I've gotten in fights before. We just had a little verbal fight. That's all. I remember this brother named Floyd Gaines. Now Floyd was cooler than cool. And he, if there can be such a thing. I mean, Floyd walked so slow that you could think he invented slow motion. And he had a way of making people think, don't mess with me, boy. so one day me and him had words, and we got into it. And I didn't win, but he didn't either. And after that, me and him, he kind of loosened up when he was talking to people that he respected. And then I saw a whole different side of Floyd. You know, and I realized that Floyd was doing what he felt he needed to do to keep from having to, every time he come to school, throw hands with somebody. You know, but that was his way of dealing with growing up in Watts. You know, and so, you know, but I've had many fights. You know, growing up, you do that when you know. All y'all know they grew up in the ghetto. We fight one day and next day we out there playing with each other. Is that right? Okay. So when a man, look at nations do that. Japan and America fought each other. Now what they doing? They trading with each other. The Germans, they're part of America's allies now. Huh? They went to war with Germany. But in that war, they developed a respect for one another. You know, it's always better to stand up against a bully than to take his bullying you. Because the mind of a bully is the mind of a child. And as long as you don't stand up to a bully, you are not correcting him. Even if he fights you and lose, and you get a couple of good licks in there, them good licks hurt. He won't come back because he may say, well, maybe next time he might get better licks. You know, so you defend yourself. I was listening to you know, I listened to MP MPB radios sometime. I think that's Mississippi Public Broadcasting. And they was talking about the counselors in the school for children. And they have about one counselor for every 400 and some students when it should be, I'm talking about nationwide, when it should be about one counselor for every 200,000. I mean 200 students, not 200,000. And they was talking about how children now are entertaining the thoughts of suicide and all of this kind of thing. When I want to show you what you have. All of these, as I told you, all of these technological advancements that you have that you thought was a blessing, these are plagues that's hitting you that you did not understand. Whenever someone gives you more than you can handle, it's like pouring water on a person that's drowning. The scripture told you that there was a plague dropped down from heaven. In fact, the water that produced me drowned you. You just don't realize what's really going on. That's why you need a savior to save you from your wrong thinking. Your wrong thinking is your sinful mind. So where's that at? What chapter is that about the plague? Yeah. Revelation 16 and what? Now, ain't you glad that you've been in these classes? Now, let me show you something. I'm glad I've been in here. You know why? And you just proved something for me. You done proved it many times. Many of y'all done proved it. Whenever you know something but don't know it or don't remember it, he who knows and knows not that he knows is what? He's asleep, huh? He needs somebody to wake him, don't he? Now, I know how many times you've been looking for something and it was right in your hand. You ever look for your glasses and they was up on your head? Huh? Looking for your keys and you holding them and looking for them. That ain't never happened to you. I know. Because I did it. Now, I could could have came apart at the seams and said, oh, I must be going crazy. No, I ain't going crazy. It's just that my mind was on so many things. And I normally don't have my keys in my hand. And so when I got ready to finally go, I was trying to remember where I put my keys. It was holding them. And so, you know, that happens. So, but there's an old saying, the more people you help on the way up, if you slip, then people can catch you before you fall too far. You see what just happened? I'm looking for a scripture. I know it's there. Somebody I done taught told it to me. Huh? You don't never go wrong helping people, man. You can't go wrong doing good. What's another word for good? Yes. You can't go wrong doing right. Don't let nobody tell you that you're doing too much good. That's the devil talking to you. Don't listen to that. You can't do too much good. So, in Revelation, yes.
You have a comment from Ricky Flowers. He says, "Son of man, you are right about what you said earlier. I've been listening to you, and I can't listen to anyone else."
Like I said, I know that's true because man, trying to get me to go listen to somebody else teach is worse than going to the dentist. And he talking about pulling your teeth without even if he gonna pull your tooth. Man, just the thought of that needle bothers me. Sometimes he be talking to me and saying, now this is gonna sting just a little. Man, I tense all up in that chair, and he said, see, that didn't hurt too bad. And it did hurt. You know, but that's the same way. I can't stand to listen to somebody else call themselves teaching me. Well, you're going to teach me about Islam. And the messenger said that he went to visit Ethiopia. And he said it's called, in their language, they call it Addis Ababa. He said, and he went there, and the most beautiful building there was the mosque, the temple. He said, but I didn't go in it. He said, but next time I go, I told him I would come and go in it and visit them. He said, but once you get the new Islam that Allah have given to us, you're not so particular about going here Islam taught nowhere but among yourself. So, you know, I just can't, you know, and he's right. Ain't no sense you telling me somebody over here teaching or whatever, and you ought to go hear him. I ain't got to go hear them. No, I'm not ought to go over there. They ought to come over here. You see, I'm the one standing up in front of the whole world, telling the world that all their religions are false, and ain't nobody challenging me on that statement. Then why should you come to me telling me I ought to go listen to these people? No, I know what your major malfunction is that you don't want to be righteous, and therefore you don't want me teaching righteousness because it condemns what you want to be. You see, I should say what you want to remain, because ain't none of you righteous, and you're not going to be righteous until you submit to me. So I want to get back to these children. Y'all killing our babies. Brother, it says, let's see if I can find it. This is the 73rd chapter of the Holy Quran. And remember, I want to see if I can give me a minute. It takes a little time. Let's see. trying to find some continuity here. So give me a moment. I because I remember people used to say that the Bible say in the last days they ain't gonna be so bad that children gonna be gray-headed. That's what they used to say. So, and I don't remember ever seeing that in the Bible. Let me see here. That don't mean it ain't in there just because I ain't seen it. But let's see. But the place that I found it was in the Holy Quran. People said the Bible said that. So in chapter 73 of the Holy Quran, that's where I told you to go. All right. Here. It says, I think I'm going to start at the, tell you in a moment. Yes, this is really something. I think I'm gonna just go on and start at the first verse. This is a good thing to teach on. And I want all you parents to get your children, bring them in here and let them hear me. Because we have wronged these children and don't realize it. You gave them too much knowledge. You done messed them up. Now I can tell you, children, how to save yourself. You see, a child is not supposed to have a lot of worries. That's why when I was growing up, and when, for instance, our house was being foreclosed on, my daddy and mama, they knew it. And I think my older siblings, my grown siblings, they might have knew it. I didn't. I thought we was going down there picking fruit because daddy just wanted to go pick fruit. And it was fun to me. And I didn't realize that we was picking fruit because he had got laid off of Chrysler and they didn't know when they was going back and that kind of thing. And so daddy found a way. And but I never knew till I got up old enough, and I think some of my older brothers told me what was really going on with us going down there to Colusa, California, to pick prunes. And a child shouldn't have the worries of an adult. Things that would make an adult a little depressed would absolutely destroy a child. The same way that you don't take I don't know nothing about horses, but I do got sense enough to ask somebody who do, or to pay attention when they don't, you don't see people that raise them horses putting a saddle on a colt, on a little horse that ain't mature yet. He's still growing. Don't jump on his back. You don't take a mind that is so fresh and immature as a child and start loading them up with adult thoughts. And you don't let them do that to themselves. And by letting them do that to themselves, you done produced a crazy world. That's why you have children that speak to grown people as though they are grown. They have a deformed mind. There was bullies when I was growing up, but wasn't nobody talking about committing no suicide over no bully. You know why? Because even bullies feared teachers. Now teachers fear the students. And you don't see that your world is at its end and you need a savior. And I'm not saving you to go back and keep doing what you've been doing. If you don't want to change, bye. I'm wrapping my mind up inside of the Word of God. What's another way of saying that? What do you do with your mind all day, every day? What made you get up and come here? Who forced you to come here? I'm talking to you grown people. I didn't hear you. It was your will, I thought. You here because you will to be here. The word of God contains the will of God. I'm wrapping myself up inside of the will of God. I'm putting his will into my brain and adopting his will as my will. I'm inviting you to do the same. As is written, I'm inviting you to the marriage supper. Allah told all of the human beings on earth to submit to me. And even though I'm the true vine, the real husband is the truth. My father is the husbandman. And if you don't get what's in these books in your head, you ain't gonna live on this planet no more. What happened when you go on in a factory? They call them plants. Automobile what? Plants. What happens at a plant? And why they call it a plant? You remember what I told you? What do plants do with light? They convert sunlight to food. Is that right? To energy. Is that right? Don't they tell you that they go and get you a good job? But get an education first so that you can get a job in some corporate entity, in some plant somewhere where you can be one of the CEOs or something. But they want to convert the knowledge into practical application. Is that right? Into energy. What if you in there and the foreman happen to see you just standing around like you don't know where you at? Say, where's your station at? He said, well, I'm supposed to be down here. Well, why ain't you down there? Then they may start watching you. And if you don't seem like you able to practically apply knowledge, you soon get a pink slip. Is that right? Meaning what? You better go find you another job. Is that right? Well, everybody that don't get this knowledge in their head that I'm here to share with you from Allah, you're going to get a pink slip to go find you another planet to live on. And it ain't none. So it's written, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, O thou covering thyself up, rise to pray by night, except a little. It says, sleep little and pray much. Huh? Half of it, or lessen it a little, or add to it, and recite the Quran in a leisurely manner. Surely we shall charge you with a weighty word. Why charge? You notice. You know what a battery is, right? All of you got a battery in your car. Well, the sulfuric acid that's in there and the way it reacts to those lead platelets inside of it creates a chemical reaction and it produces electricity. But it has to be recharged. You know, it don't that chemical reaction after a while, it ain't enough and it has to be recharged. It's like we our minds, every time as we are thinking, that's electricity going through us. You see? As they have shown us on those what they call them scans they put on your brain. It hook you up. The EKG? No, that's the heart. A CAT scan. They put that stuff on you and they see all that. They do sleep.
No, sir, the one you're looking for is an EEG, is electroencephalogram.
Electroencephalogram. Okay, thank you. I know somebody out there know. And so if you don't know this, okay. I know I look at you sometime and ask you for this or that. But I know they hook, then when they do sleep studies, I don't think they put you inside of no chamber. They hook some things up to your brain. And they tell us that it's actually more electric activity going on in your brain when you sleep than when you are awake. I think that's because while we are asleep, the subconscious takes over. And when we are awake, the subconscious shuts down to allow us to deal with the reality of the day. That's my thoughts on that. Some of y'all that know something more than that, you're welcome to share it with us. I'm just from a bird's eye view. I was just telling you that makes more sense to me. You know, it's just like when you are, a good example is when you're driving. If you hit that cruise control, then there's more activity going on in that car than it is when you're driving it yourself. You see, and there's a lot of other things happening when it's on cruise control. Do you understand? If you watch that accelerator, you'll see it moving in subtle ways that you just couldn't do. But that machine does it better. So, but anyway, it says, rising by night is surely the firmest way to tread and most effective in speech. Well, that's true. Keeping up prayer and getting up at night to pray when it's quiet and ain't no noise around. You got more concentration on what you're saying rather than the other stuff that go on while you praying, trying to pray. So it says, truly thou hast by day prolonged occupation, and remember the name of thy Lord. See that remember the book says, he that believeth not on the Son is condemned already, because he have not believed in the what? The name of the only begotten Son of God. The Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath day. The name of thy Lord. Huh? Okay. Then it says, and remember the name of thy Lord, and devote thyself to him with complete devotion. And it says, the Lord of the East and the West. Now, do that sound like the Son of Man comes with a religion from either one of them places? See, my religion is not that which they call Islam over in the East. And my religion is not that which they call Christianity over here in the West. But my religion is that which is produced by some from both worlds. Because some, both of them had some things right, but most things wrong. And so Allah took the devil. I mean, Chinese people used to call anybody from America the American devils. And so did the people in Vietnam. They even put that in a movie. X-Men, not apocalypse, future days past, days of future past. And they put that in there, and in that little clip there, not every day you defeat the American devils. The Chinese call them foreign devils. And Montezuma, he called them devil dogs. But the fact of the matter is that when they heard the so-called slave, the so-called Negro, stand up in America and identify the devil, they knew God had visited us. You couldn't know that if God didn't tell you. But we received it as children. And we started thinking that everything that's white-skinned is a devil. And the messenger told us that. He said, you go by his color because you didn't know who was up under the color. And he even told us, he said, I could tell you some things that wouldn't make you feel so good. He said, but I want you to feel good while I'm teaching you. It's just like when he asked who is the colored man. We didn't know that was talking about us. But, he, and anybody that say it wasn't, I can remind you that when Minister Kareem was teaching one day, he stood up and said, the messenger said that the black man's mind, now this is what he said. He didn't say a black man. He said the black man's mind is like a vice. If you start him off in the right direction, it's hard to turn him around. And if you start him off in the wrong direction, it's equally hard to turn him around. Because once his mind clamped down on something, he gonna stick to it. Like if you think a pit bull got something going on, he ain't got nothing on the mind of the black man. That's what I'm telling you, that's a vice. And he said, but some of us, he says, wishy-washy. We go either way. Because he was talking about the black man that God said he was going to create and who is the Son of Man. That's me. And he knew that once I get my mind set on something, ain't nothing you gonna do to turn me around. My life and my death is all for Allah. Period. See. You notice. I'll show you an example. Don't feel rained on. It was designed, the human family was designed to be one. One head. Everybody else under that head. But you notice when you who have ran a marathon, if you run a marathon, you know good and well the body be wanting to quit, but the head make it keep going. Huh? Muscles might be tight, the legs be rubbery, but the head is the one that you got to convince to stop. So, and that's why Allah said he was going to create a mortal of sounding clay of black mud. So when I have and fashioned in the shape, so when I've breathed in, made him complete and breathed into him of my spirit, you fall down, humble yourself and submit to him. You see? So let's read some more. The Lord of the east and the west. There is no God but who? But he. This was some of them said, well, the message that we all God. There ain't no God but me. According to all of them who was the children, the peacemakers. Who's the author of peace? Okay, well, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of the Most High. So Jesus was a peacemaker. Moses was a peacemaker. David was a peacemaker. Solomon was a peacemaker. Muhammad was a peacemaker. All the messengers of God were peacemakers. And it's written, I have said you are gods. And all of you are children of the Most High. You see? What does it say? That John said, behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. Huh? And it does not yet appear what we shall be. Why? We look for a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwelleth what? There shall be righteousness. But it don't yet appear what we shall be. That's why Jesus, when they tried to call him good, he said, why are you calling me good? There ain't none good but one. And he ain't got here yet. Remember, I told everybody, I said, point out what you find fault in me with. What's wrong with me? See? I notice you don't come in here and ask me what's wrong with you. I can find plenty of things in the Word of God that condemns anybody on this planet. I defy you to find something in there that condemns me. Tell me something. If I want to take these glasses, don't make no difference what the prescription costs me. If I want to take these glasses and throw them on the floor and crush them, have I did anything wrong? Why? Well then, since all y'all belong to me, who have I wronged? You ain't no judge over me. None of you. Black, white, brown, yellow. Don't make no difference. If I holler at you if I scream at you at the top of my voice, I got a right to do it. You were ordered to bow to me. You got members on your body, don't you? What if you take a hammer? I don't know why you do it, but what would you if you take a hammer and put your finger down there and just bust it? Who would that hurt? It hurt you. That's why I don't do you wrong, because it hurts me to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. But in my growing and developing, if you get, if I skin my knee or something, well, it'll heal. I know I don't offended a lot of y'all, but you still mine. You just well to get over it. Blessed is he that ain't offended in me. I remember I said things to white people here in Mississippi on the air that I wouldn't say now, because I know better. Like when I was down there at the barber shop, the brother, he wasn't wrong for asking me to not do so much preaching in his shop. And I got offended. Tried to use the thing where everybody else talking about what they want to talk about. Why you want to single me out? And but the barbershop ain't church. The barbershop ain't a place that people come to hear the word of God. So I understand that now. But I was just 31 years old back then. And I was stupid. Let's just call it what it is. And he was patient with me. He was probably more patient with me than I would have been with him in the same, because it was his shop. Man, they welcomed me in there, and then I want to come in there, and that's a lot of things that I wouldn't do now. That how many things did you do as a child that you cringe at thinking about doing them now? All right. Well, it's the same with spiritual children. I appreciate Mr. White and Don them for being patient with me. Them brothers, they actually looked out for me. And I will always remember that. When you see Mr. White and them, you show them the utmost of respect and courtesy, and let them know that I got some sense now. So we a lot of times we be so headstrong in what we claim to believe in that we forget to be an example of it. It's not righteousness to go around every chance you get bending somebody's ear with the word of God. That's not righteousness. Righteousness is whatever you would like people to do towards you, do that to them. When somebody talking to you about something you don't want to hear, what do you appreciate them doing? Huh? If they didn't ask you for it, how many times you want to go up and give somebody some advice? Huh? And they tell you, look, I don't want to hear that. And you, well, you need to hear that. Well, no, you done messed up now. My mother taught me a lesson on that. My mother did something with me once that I never fully saw the value of. And until I matured, she was visiting our home once, and I was doing something with one of my children. And she said, Marvin, can I say something? And I told her, I said, no, Ma. And she didn't say another word. I realized later that my mother was showing me that your children reach a certain point, and you reach a certain point that you're a man, you got a family. And if you're dealing with your family, that's your family. And I didn't let nobody come in here and tell me how to raise you. And I'm not going to come here and try to tell you how to raise your babies. If you want my advice, I'll give it. If you don't, I'll be quiet and I won't get offended. She taught me all of that in just the way she conducted herself when I told her no. If you had met my mother, you would have liked my mother. You know, all of you. And I mean, I can't think of nobody that if you met my mother, that you wouldn't have good to say about her. You'd have nothing but good to say about her because she was not an offensive person. She actually epitomized doing to other people as you would like them to do to you. She didn't butt in nobody's business. She did not gossip. Wouldn't let us do it. We used to get mad at her because she wouldn't let us. We come in there, she hear us talking about somebody, she said, shut up. Be talking about nobody behind their back. Well, they did so and so. I don't care what they did. Shut up. That was how's that helping you? And so, you know, and my daddy, he backed up. You know, he better not get you talking crazy to your mama. And he put something on you. So, you know, I once spoke to my mother when she didn't know I had her on the radio. I wish I could find that interview. And because I let y'all hear her once. And you know, she was a sweet woman. I mean, my mother was a sweet woman. You know, so I understand, you know, how, you know, how you know, it don't set well with you when people say hateful things about people that you care about, especially, but, you know, you don't have to go to pieces over it because, you know, they don't know what they're talking about. You understand? If they're telling the truth on them, then you still ain't got no right to get mad because all they did was tell the truth. But if they are so, just like the man who occupies the White House right now, speaking against John McCain. Man done passed away, he gone. And you still want to stand up there talking about the man, what? Any man that decide that he don't agree with everything you have to say, everything you want to do, you deprive him of his manhood? What kind of man is he if he don't have principles that he believes in and don't let you shake him off of them. You notice the man that was in here earlier, he don't have to agree with me. But if you don't agree with me and you're willing to tell me that, then I have a right to know why. And if you're not willing to tell me why, you should never have opened your mouth in disagreement with me. That's unmanly. Generally, when someone does not agree with you, I've been to school. Math is the best way to show it. Because if you tell someone that the way they are working a problem is wrong, they don't even have to ask you why. Because most of the time, if you know it's wrong, you say, because such and so and such and so and so. You don't just throw it out there that that's wrong. When you tell somebody that they are wrong, there's always a because. And if there's not a because, you never should have opened your mouth. Most of the time, when people don't believe what you're saying and ain't got no proof of it, they don't blurt out, I don't believe that. They may whisper, I don't believe that. Then the one they whispering to may ask them, well, why not? I just don't believe it. Well, okay, well, just look, I'm trying to listen, man. Yeah, you know, I ain't got no time to hear you talking about you don't believe something just because you don't believe it. Let's read some more. The 9th verse. The Lord of the east and the west, there is no God but he. So take him for protector. Take him for a protector. Huh? Well, not actually. Because to say a, that would mean there's some other ones out there too. So you take him for protection. Huh? And for the protector. That's what Isaiah said. He shall be for a sanctuary. A sanctuary is a place that you be protected in. Huh? You notice when people come in here and express disagreements that maybe privately you have heard other people express, when you hear me deal with it, then it protects your mind. It protects your faith. It protects the trust that you have in me. Do you understand? You see? And that's what I'm here for. And he says, and bear patiently what they say. Or you see what I did when he came in here? You know how people used to come in here and just blurt out something and I get mad at them. It still annoys me. But I know that, sometimes, when people don't like you in this world, they think that means they can disrespect you. They have not learned that you don't have to like a person to show them respect. You see? I'll show you an example. I'll use the FBI. The FBI does not like criminals. But if they go and visit you, you saw what Mr. Cohen and the what's the name, the last one that they raided his house. What's the man name that huh? Yeah, what's his name?
Well, that's Roger Stone.
Roger Stone. they both said the same thing, that the FBI were very respectful. To investigate does not mean to condemn. They are not the Federal Bureau of Condemnation. They are the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Then if you looking into something, well, then you tread lightly and respectfully. Because if you don't find what you was suspicious of, then you haven't offended anyone. Then look, everybody that's honest, you should not mind if the FBI pay you a visit and won't talk to you. They assume that you are a law-abiding citizen too, and that maybe you can help them with something. Why would you get angry with somebody for trying to look out for your well-being? You know, I was thinking, I need to speak on this. You look at what Edward Snowden thought was evil, which was the FBI and the government was spying on Americans, he called it, spying on Americans. Tell me something. Do you think that you should not run a country like you run your house? What parent have never tipped up when the room got quiet with the children in there and peeked, and the children didn't know they was looking? Why did you do that? To make sure they were safe. And to make sure they wasn't doing something they ain't had no business doing. And there again, to keep them safe. Let's go a little further. The oath of office that I've heard them give says that they take an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign, finish it. Well, how you gonna know if somebody is a domestic enemy if you ain't watching from time to time? You think your right to privacy is violation because you got one understanding of privacy. But you know, most people who crooked think that right to privacy means don't ever be looking at me. That ain't what right to privacy is. You don't have the right to be sitting up in the man's country plotting against his government. You don't have that right in nobody's house. Who got the right in your house to be sitting up there planning to blow it up? You backwards. You think you understand when you really don't. You don't understand anything. Why am I standing up here talking to you like this? Because if they start talking to you like that, you try to make it look like they being political. And it ain't got nothing to do with political. It has to do with the job description and the description of that bureau. Investigation. If it attracts the attention, look into it. If it's nothing there, well, then you know. Even God sent angels to Sodom to see if it was as bad as he heard. He sent some investigators down there. Is that right? There you go. So, Edward got played. I'll give Putin this. Putin got sense enough to have people looking in whoever might want to harm his nation. Anybody worth their salt. You know, you just let people come into your businesses and walk all through them and whatnot, and you don't watch people when they come around you? What is wrong with you? Certainly we watch you. If you don't pay attention, if you got valuables and you ain't watching them, you sure won't have them long. So, and bear patiently what they say, and forsake them with a becoming withdrawal. Now, did I say anything to that man that he could construe and justify being mad at me for? But I did forsake what he was trying to do. And leave me and the deniers who are possessors of plenty, and respite them a little. Yeah, that lets you know who he's talking about. I ain't got no lot. The white man owns all of this stuff. Now you want to come in here jugging at me? Okay, you go ahead. Allah told me to lead you to him. That's right. Surely with us are heavy fetters and a flaming fire, and food that chokes, and a painful chastisement. You notice, when you try to gobble down the scripture, you choke on it. I'm the only one who can eat this. And I give it to you. I give it to you in the form of milk. I blend it up for you. See, I'm blending it now. You see how I blend the Bible with the Holy Quran? You couldn't do that. And if you tried to chew it separately, you choke on it. Then it says, on the day when the earth and the mountains quake. What day is that? Turn to Revelation, the 6th chapter. Let me blend it up a little here. It says, in the 12th verse, it says, and I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a what? A great what? Okay. Now let's go back to the Holy Quran again. On the day when the earth and the mountains quake, and the mountains become as heaps of sand, let loose. You notice all of these mountains of the universities and stuff that you have that you used to think was so prestigious. Now they're all coming unraveled. You're finding out now that people that had degrees from a lot of these universities didn't even deserve no degree. They got bought it and paid for it. Didn't have no degree. I always did think something was wrong when you had all these doctors out here getting malpractice lawsuits against them and all this kind of stuff. What in the world you got so many doctors? When I was growing up, they didn't have no doctors getting no malpractice lawsuit. But you know, this world got a saying, money talks and everything else can take a walk. It ain't what you know, it's who you know. Yeah. How's that working out for you? Come on, tell me. How's that working out for you? It ain't what you know. And you laying on the operating table and talking about it, yeah, it ain't what you know. And somebody cutting on you. You better hope it is what he know. Remember, this poor sister was getting her tonsils taken out. A tonsillectomy. Something that doctors used to do and you be outpatient. Poor woman went home and died. Bled to death. Because some quack bought him a degree. Come on, she had a Mallory Weiss tear. Wasn't no tear. He went in and cut one of her arteries. Lady bled to death. Y'all gonna answer for this stuff. You know that, right? Didn't you take a pledge to do no harm? Didn't you take an oath to do no harm? You needn't think you're gonna get out of this life without getting that back. You're gonna get all that stuff back. Surely we have sent to you a messenger, a witness against you, as we sent a messenger to who? To who? A man like Moses then, huh? Yes. I'm here bearing witness to the modern day Pharaoh. Not in the first place, the place that you call Egypt, that ain't even Egypt. That place is called Mizar. In the Bible, it's called Mizar. Well, where's Egypt? America. Spiritually called Egypt and Sodom. That's what America is. What you read of Pharaoh and some people in bondage in Egypt, that was talking about America. Any of y'all want to argue that? Come on in here. Talking about the Jews was in bondage to Egypt. The Jews ain't never been in bondage to nobody. You know, you can get yourself $20,000 if you can prove that I'm not telling the truth. So I know you loves money. You loves money. I know you. You do anything for money. And that song says, for the love of money, a woman will sell her precious body. For the love of money, a man will rob his own mama. Huh? So, surely we have sent to you a messenger. What messenger is it that our Lord done sent to you? He said, let's go to Ezekiel. I'll show you. The second chapter. Second chapter of Ezekiel. I'm sure glad we got time so we can go through this. In the morning, in the evening, ain't we got fun? They used to sing that on a cartoon when I was growing up. It just came to mind. I thought I'd bring it up. Anyway, it says, and he said unto me, Son of man, this is the second chapter. Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. How did our Lord address Moses? Didn't he address his word speaking unto him? And he told Moses, I'm going to raise up from among their brethren one like unto you, Moses. That's Deuteronomy 18 and 18, ain't it? Then it says, and the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me. What enables you to speak? Come on now. We done been through that. Come on now. Tell you what. Talk. Put your hand in front of your mouth. Now start saying something.
Yes.
Just start talking. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What you feel? You feel your breath. You got to breathe to talk. When I have breathed into him of my spirit. And the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me. Huh? So when I've made him complete and breathed into him of my spirit, how did he breathe it in? He talked to me. Huh? Then it says, and set me upon my feet, that I heard him that spake unto me. To hear means to what? Mean to understand. Now, when I was in the womb, I didn't understand anything. I didn't hear nothing. Even the sounds that was heard, I didn't understand them, and I was not conscious of those sounds. Maybe subconsciously. You know, ain't you glad a baby don't wake up in the womb? If you wake up in the womb, you're dead. You're going to drown. Is that right? When you got here, you had never used your lungs before. When you get here, you take a breath for the first time. Huh? Why, isn't that a miracle? We live all that time underwater. We're going to have to study that, ain't we? Yeah, I'm telling you, something ain't right here. What ain't right? Our understanding of what goes on in the body for 9 months, that you farming and everything, and you don't need to have that to breathe. At least breathe using your own lungs. That's amazing. Anyway, it says, and the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me, and set me upon my feet. And I heard him that spake unto me. And he said unto me, Son of man, I do what? I send thee to a people like Pharaoh, to a man like Pharaoh, to the children of Israel, huh? Ain't that who was in bondage? To who? And since the Jews already acknowledged that they ain't never been in bondage to any man, well, who is these children of Israel? I'll tell you who they are. The white man already told you who we are. He said, hey, boy, talking to a grown man. Hey, boy, get over here and do that. Girl, get in there and sweep the room and entertain my guests here. Huh? Who was them boys and girls he was talking to? We were the children of Israel, huh? Is that right? See, he ain't saying nothing. Then it says, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that hath rebelled against me. To a rebellious nation. A nation that came into existence by rebellion. They rebelled against a tyrannical king. Huh? And they said, this man wants to tax us and take our property and stuff, and don't want to have us to have no representation up there to have any say so in what happens to us. We just can't take it. They said taxation without representation is tyranny. Huh? So we're going to declare our independence. And then they wrote a declaration of independence and went to war. Huh? Ain't that something? And invoked God. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed with certain inalienable rights that the king done took from us. Huh? Yeah. And then they turned around and took them rights from us. After speaking all them high-sounding words. Even right now, you all who are listening to me that's white, you did everything and more to us than King George was doing to you. And now you've taught me a good lesson. That rebelling and shedding the blood of those who commit tyranny against you is not the answer to solve the problem of tyranny. Because those who shed the blood of others to solve their problem, if not careful, they will become that which they condemned, as you have. So those who enslaved us didn't realize that they were in slavery too. Why? Because in order for you to hold me down in a hole, you got to stay down in there with me. And that's exactly what you have done. Look at you. You produce drugs and put them all in the black community. Remember the Godfather? He said, sell it to the niggers. Just make sure you don't keep it to the niggers. Right? And where are the drugs now? I told you. You don't believe it. But I've already told you. A person who has an evil heart, once their heart is filled with evil and hatred, where hatred exists, love cannot enter. That's why now they're selling it to white children and getting your own children hooked on it, because you don't love nobody. Love and hate can't coexist. That's a law of physics. What should have been said was no two separate objects may occupy the exact same space at the exact same time. Neither can you have love in your heart for some when it comes to objects. You can't love and hate. Love some people and hate others. You either love all people or you don't love no people. Because the only difference basically in people is the shades of their skin. We all basically the same. It's not you. I tell you what, when you hear a baby cry, if you put a Chinese baby, a Japanese baby, a black baby, and a white baby, put a room full of babies from all different species, and listen to them cry, and see if you hear any difference. See if it's any different. When people laugh, can you tell a Chinese laugh from a Japanese laugh from an American laugh? Or do we all laugh alike? When you are told to take a deep breath for an examination, is it a difference in the breath that the white man take and the breath that you and me take? The man who says he hates any people, he hates all people. And you just ain't got sense enough to know it. You see how you see these people talking about they believe in white supremacy? Yet what was that at when they ran over that white girl because she was protesting them and their racist position? They ran over her and didn't feel nothing for her. Do that sound like they love all white people? No, that's just the lie that the devil in their mind is telling. It's time for you to recognize the devil in his true form. The devil is a mind. And that the devil, I heard W.D. Muhammad, if he didn't never say nothing else that made perfect sense, he sure said it right when he said the devil wear colors like you do clothes. That's it. He was right. Would you heat this coffee up again for me? So, this is something, as the book says. He said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me even unto this very day. You can't tell me that when you enslaved me and my people and you were reading the Bible, you can't tell me that you didn't know that you was doing wrong. You knew you was wrong. Because you had just got from under tyranny yourself. And you knew that the Bible said, as you would that men do to you, do ye likewise unto them. I know good and well you didn't wish for nobody to enslave you. Then why did you enslave me? Now, if I wanted to hold you accountable for that, I could. You know what's written? It said, it must needs be. It must needs come to pass that offenses come. But woe unto that man by whom they cometh. Why you think all of the scriptures refer to the Lord as merciful? You needn't think that I don't know how to hold you accountable. I know how to hold you accountable if that's what I want to do. But I also have authority and power to forgive sins. How many of you don't believe that? How many of you think I can't hold you accountable for the things that you've been doing? That's smart on your part to be quiet.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, but comment from someone regarding what you were saying a few moments ago. His screen name is Assad Solves Problem 13.
That's a long name. Brother Assad. I'll just call you Brother Assad. Okay.
Sir, he says there are many similarities until we get down to the nature of us. Black and white.
No, you misunderstood, Brother Assad. Ain't no sense in trying to teach me that. The nature of a human being is based on the nature of their mind. It is thought that determines the nature of your deeds. If your thoughts are evil, then that makes the nature of your deeds evil, because you can only do what you think. You see, you keep trying to suggest that human beings somehow are born with the nature to be righteous and the nature to, and some born with the nature to be evil. You're not born with any nature. You were born a baby boy and a baby girl. Your nature is just like when you're making a cake. When they put that cake flour together and all of that together, if you taste cake flour in its natural state, once they finish with it, and it ain't vanilla, it ain't chocolate, it ain't nothing. You put some of that extract in it of vanilla, extract of chocolate, extract of strawberry, extract of, but we created man of an extract of clay. Do you understand? Stop trying to teach, brother, and pay attention before you get left behind. See, the nature of all human beings is determined by the nature of their thoughts. It is thoughts that determine your nature. You see? So as you know, you've taken our teachings, which you sound like you was not around when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was here. You were too young to be in the nation. And now you want to come to one of the founding fathers of the nation. I was there when the foundation was being laid. I got there at the end of it, but I was there while the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was still alive in the body. Now you want to come in here and you get a little piece of the teachings and you think you understood it when you didn't. Minister Farrakhan is proof to you that you didn't understand it. He had been around the messenger for 20-something years. And you see where he wound up over there with L. Ron Hubbard. So stop trying to teach us. I'm here to give you the understanding of the teachings. You want to suggest that somehow white people are just born evil. And they are not. If that be the case, you could never make a Muslim out of them. Then how did Master Farad Muhammad's mother become a Muslim? The messenger said Master Farad Muhammad's father found a white wife and made a good Muslim out of her. Was Master Farad Muhammad's mother a devil? I never heard the messenger teach that he had a devil mother. I never heard the messenger teach that Prophet Muhammad was a devil. He said Muhammad of 1400 years ago was a white man. He didn't say a devil. Don't bring your racism in here.
He says he agrees with you, sir.
Okay, you leave all that racism at the door. Don't bring it in here. I done had enough. I done had it up to here with racism. You ought to be tired of it by now. Not want to practice it in reverse. I would never do any people like white people did us. As much as I hated it, if I go and do it to somebody else, I must not have hated it too much, huh? Then you could say, well, it looked to me like you didn't hate it. You just hated that you wasn't able to do it. No. I will not do to other people the unjust things that was done to me. I will not do it. And I don't care how you can talk until you black blue in the face, you ain't gonna convince me to go and practice racism. How in the world you gonna tell me on the one hand you believe that all these people are our children? They all came out of the black man. And then you want to teach me to hate them? What's that about? That what fathers are supposed to do? Hate their own children? Mothers supposed to hate their children? Are supposed to be an example for them.
Sir, he says, from what I understand of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's reading and lectures, it isn't racism, it's what he taught.
No, I'm teaching what he taught. You're right. He didn't teach racism. But you tried earlier to interject racism into it. You don't tell me that white people are just born wicked. No, they are not. They are born baby boy and baby girl just like you and me. Then, because of the misteaching of their parents, passing lies and deceit on to them, then that determined the nature of them. That's why the messenger said that by nature, even when he was talking about how a white man spoke to him, he said, "How you do, Mr. Muhammad?" He said, "How you do, Mr. Jones?" And he said, "Both of us have death in our heart for each other." And we didn't understand that. What was in the heart of the slave maker was spiritual death to a righteous mind. And what was in the heart of the prophets or messengers of God was death to a wicked mind. Both of us have death in our heart for each other.
He says, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that their nature is wicked.
All right. I see you not listening. So when you're ready to listen, you just said you agree with me. Now you want to come back saying the same old trite thing as though I didn't say nothing. So to you is yours and me is mine. I'm not finna keep going back and forth with you. The messenger told you that the last messenger, he will not argue with you after he give you the truth. No. So you didn't mean it when you said you agreed with me. So anyway, let's move on. So It says, surely we have sent to you a messenger. And who is that messenger? Huh? And who is that? All right. Do you not see that that's the truth? Allah have sent me to you and to Pharaoh. It says, as a witness against you. You notice when I just told him he wasn't in the nation. Why would you be in here even trying to argue with someone who was in the nation when you wasn't in it? Why would you do that? Do you know how disrespectful that is? It's just like me and you. Now, I was in the Marine Corps. If you've never been in the service, if you've never been in the Marine Corps, why would you try to argue with me about what Marines are supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do? How intelligent is that? If you were somebody to teach us, then you would have had to be part of the Nation of Islam, because that's where the teacher was supposed to be raised from. Raise up in them a messenger. After making a nation, Abraham said, raise from our offspring a nation of Islam, a nation submissive to you, and raise up in them a messenger who shall recite to them thy messages and teach them the book and the wisdom and purify them. And I am a fulfillment of both of that. Then it says, surely we have sent to you a messenger, a witness against you, as we sent a messenger to Pharaoh. But Pharaoh disobeyed the messenger. So we seized him with a violent grip. You see all of these tornadoes and stuff that been hitting this country? I wouldn't care if you cut down every tree in Jefferson County. You still ain't gonna have no tornadoes coming through here. Not while I'm here. They're cutting them too. Wishing that a tornado or stuff could come through here. You wish all you want. Allah know where I'm at. He know where you at too. And he can thread the needle, boy. So, it says, but Pharaoh disobeyed the messenger. So we seized him with a violent grip. How then? Listen now. Knowing you knew what the Bible had said, it was reminding you of what was in the Bible, wasn't it? Anybody that read the story of Moses and Pharaoh in the Bible, they know that Pharaoh caught hell, didn't he? Is that right? Now look what it says. How then, if you disbelieve, will you guard yourselves on the day which will make children what? You're in that day now. Children sitting down worrying over what's happening in politics. Children sitting down looking at, here you got children sitting up in school. Sitting up in school, every time the door open, they watching. Watching for what? If some fool gonna come in there and mow them down. That's what you done came to. A child can't even be a child because you too stupid to control the weapons that you make, because you're more interested in making money than you are in making sense. You look what just happened in Venezuela, New Zealand, excuse me. In New Zealand, the people got shot down. About 40-something people got shot down, murdered. The New Zealand president, or whatever they call him, banned all them kind of weapons that was used. Right away. You devils ain't banned nothing. Babylon is fallen, and it's become the habitation of none but devils, and a stronghold of every foul-minded person, in a cage, a jailhouse for every unclean and hateful person. Come out of her. All of you, as the book says, let all them that name the name of Christ depart from iniquity. Come out of her, my people. Stop practicing what these people practice. If you got a gun, get rid of it. Show Allah that you trust him, not a gun.
So you have a question from Australia.
Yes.
Gaza Rover asks regarding the massacre in New Zealand, what are your thoughts as to why that happened?
What are my thoughts as to why that massacre happened? Look, as I told all of you, and I want all of the so-called Orthodox Muslim world to hear me. When the Western Hemisphere was introduced to Islam, it wasn't introduced to Orthodox Islam. It was introduced to Islam by the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And the one thing that people used to know about Muslims, when all people thought that there was just black Muslims, the one thing that the whole world knew is that we did not carry weapons. You never heard the term Muslim terrorists, when the only people that they knew about in Islam was the Nation of Islam. And you all used to, come visit us over here. I got evidence that was. And you at the 1975 Savior's Day, they brought us greetings when we were grieving over the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's loss, over the loss of his life, not due to being shot down, not due to some violent action, but he passed away because of congestive heart failure. That was the official report. And everyone knew that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had bronchitis. And he used to have to go to Phoenix sometime to a drier climate to kind of help that situation of his. If some of you who was in the nation know more depth of that, you're welcome to share it. But nobody shot him down. Nobody blew him up. And everybody knew that he forbade Muslims to carry weapons of any kind. He said that Allah said to disarm yourself. He said, if there's any fighting to be done, Allah told him, he said, I will do that. He said, I can protect you. And the Bible backs that up. And the Quran does too. The Bible said, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. Okay. Then when the messenger wasn't here anymore, many of your so-called Muslim scholars got with W.D. Muhammad and some of the other hypocrites of the nation of Islam and start declaring that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not teach true Islam. And you start declaring that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad the nation of Islam was not true Muslims. And then you stepped in front of us and call yourself showing people what true Islam is, and then they start showing how you was carrying weapons and how you over there making IADs, them improvised IEDs, excuse me, improvised explosive devices, and fighting in the way of the devil. The devil is the bloodshedder. Wilt thou place a mind in human beings that makes mischief and sheds blood? While we celebrate your praise and extol your holiness. So you think that it's okay. You call yourself fighting a holy war with unholy weapons, which makes you a hypocrite, which makes you just another emissary of the devil, trying to disguise yourself as a Muslim. The Holy Quran says those who built a mosque to cause harm to Islam. How in the world are you going to convert people to any religion? And you getting all online, chopping folks' heads off and all this kind of stuff. Who wants to be part of that? You know that that's not Islam. And you did it not because you're trying to promote Islam. You did it to try to make Islam look like any of these other false religious doctrines. I'm not surprised that now people, that it's open season on you. You created the open season when you decided that it's a legitimate thing to blow up innocent or people who are just going about their everyday activities, and you there trying to frighten them, terrorize them by making them afraid to go on a train or go on into a club or go someplace. Since when do people have to fear righteous people doing harm to them? Name one prophet that when he came around, people was afraid that they was going to be done harm. Name one. You ain't hear no white people or black people, no people around me talking about they scared or afraid that we might do something to them. I've lived in this community since 1981. Ask the police, how many times have I broke the peace of this community? Let someone who claimed that me or my followers did them wrong and the police needed to arrest us. Ain't did nothing to you. Anytime you told me something that was bugging you from me or somebody that was following me, I say, I'll get it straight. I don't want nobody to feel like they in danger when I come around. When people think that they're in danger when you come around, they try to figure out a way to get rid of you before you get rid of them. You created that. Now, if you want to be a terrorist, why don't you just go on and do that? And stop calling yourself a Muslim. I don't know no prophet that wanted people to be scared of him. Even when those people declared war on Prophet Muhammad, Allah told him, you got to defend yourself. So he did. And he told his followers, yes, we got to take up the sword because they're trying to kill us. And when he went back victorious to Mecca and could have slaughtered all them people in Mecca, he told his followers who wanted to slaughter them, he said, you give them a choice. And everyone who says, La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah, don't you kill him. There's no God but Allah, no God but the God. And Muhammad is his messenger. If they say that, he said, you leave them alone. He knew how to put a stop to the killing. So it was a whole lot of la ilaha illallah. Do you understand? But he knew how to put a stop to it without his followers having justifiable reason to be mad at him. He did like Jesus did. He said, he that's among you without sin, cast the first stone. He simply said, well, if they say it, there ain't no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger, you spare their life. So everybody do that. And that Shahada is still around here today. And they be telling people that if you just say that, you a Muslim. And that's not true. Just because you said there ain't no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Well, what was Jesus? What was Moses? The second pillar of faith is that you must believe in all of the prophets, not just in Muhammad. But that was Muhammad's way to put an end to the bloodshed after he was victorious. In defending himself in a time where it wasn't even time for righteousness to be on the earth. So I'm telling all of you in the East and everywhere where there are people who believe in Islam, who say that you are Muslim, get rid of them weapons. Show the people that you are a Muslim. Show the people that you trust in Allah and not in guns. We trust in the power of Allah to defend us in this day and time that he is now present and is ready to set up his kingdom on earth. Get rid of those guns. Get rid of all weapons and show that you really do believe that Islam is the religion of peace. Let Allah worry about who want to do harm to you. He'll fix them. They would be walking around here, can't blink their eyes. All you're saying when you pick up a gun is that you don't trust Allah to be able to take care of you. That's all you're saying. And you can fix it like you want, but that's the bottom line. If I'm carrying a gun, that's just the same way of me saying, I don't think Allah can take care of me. It will only say in his word that I made the smith, the blacksmith, and the iron that the man puts in the fire to bring out as a weapon and an instrument for his service. He said, no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. Somebody could just as easily say to me, you got a weapon and you don't believe that Allah, what he said about no weapon formed against you will prosper. What could I say if I was walking around here with a gun? That would tell them that I don't trust Allah's word. But I do trust in Allah's word. So I'm not going to pick up no gun. No. And I'm telling you who say you believe in me, don't pick up guns. Better pick up that telephone and dial into these classes. Okay. You know the one thing about it, when you ain't planning on harming nobody, you don't have to be paranoid. Because it's just natural that when you're not scheming to do harm to other people, you don't think nobody wants to do harm to you because you're not trying to harm anybody. And contrary to popular opinion, you're in a day and time where people are only doing what God lets you do now. The only way you can harm me is that Allah decide he wants you to, not because you chose to. So, trust in the truth that Allah hath revealed. How then, that 17th verse says, if you disbelieve, will you guard yourselves on the day which will make children gray-headed, the heaven being rent asunder thereby? His promise is ever fulfilled. Prophecy is fulfilled now. The Son of Man ain't coming. The Son of Man has arrived. And the judgment is going on. Surely this is a reminder. So let him who will follow the scripture to his Lord. Why did he say take a way? Because remember Jesus said, I am the way. But he also said, had you believed Moses, you would have believed me. Well, what was Moses then? And what was David? And what was Isaiah? What was Muhammad? Well, then let him, as the book says, so let him who wills to take one of them ways to your Lord. Because all of them pointed you to me. I wanted to do a, to say thank you and do a tribute to some people who very seldom hear something other than complaints. Um, and the as I was thinking over, um, you know, songs are they are poetry, and as I was thinking over a song in particular, that when you look at the I remember when I was up at visiting Detroit, and my auntie was in one of those nursing homes, and I remember how when we used to go visit her, that the people in there, they were they were always kind, and um, the home was a nice place, and Annie was sometimes hard to get along with. And I mean, she didn't talk to me bad, but sometimes she talked to other folks pretty rough. and the people who have to take care of, when you get to a point where you can't really see after your loved ones, whether it's a mother or a father, um, it's nice to have a place, that because I got the idea from looking at how, like the Japanese, they believe in taking care of their elders. And in America, there are nursing homes all over the country. Some are better than others, but for the most part, it is nice that even when families just can't take care of the elder, that there are some people who make their living by doing that. And sometimes the relatives who can't do it, when they do go and visit, they're a little bit what you call, they may go in complaining more than being thankful. When you have to take care of people who sometimes have dementia, who sometimes no matter how you try. You know, we had a brother that we put in the nursing home in uh, Jefferson County. I think he passed from there. And he used to be cursing, you know, I mean, he in dementia, you know, when you don't, their mind come and go. And they were very patient with him and that kind of thing. I used to go up there sometime and tell him, hey, you know, you need to tone that down, brother. Don't do that. But, you know, we all have our devils, you know. I mean, like I told you, I used to cuss and swear and go on. I done woke myself up cussing. Man, you know, I mean, that's just, I'm talking about now even, you know, I mean, I can't be held accountable for what happened to me in my sleep. I control my devils when I'm woke, but it's hard. I mean, it's a struggle. You got to constantly be mindful of yourself. You got no time to be around here trying to police other people. You better try to police yourself. But anyway, and I wanted to, I was going to go and do a musical tribute to them, but I ain't up to it. And so, but it's one song that I think fits what they do. It was by the Carpenters. And the words to it are very beautiful. And so I think this is to those in the nursing homes and those who see after our elders and our people who can't.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, yes, I'm calling to speak to you. You're the Son of Man.
What is it? You were in here earlier, so what is it now you want?
Well, no, I wasn't with you earlier. This is why I'm a first time caller.
Okay, well, what is it that you wanted to speak to me about?
I want to understand pretty much what caused you to call yourself the Son of Man.
Well, that requires more than a word or two. So I tell you what, Sunday when I'm on the air, you come right back and ask me, and then we will go into that.
Monday? You say call back Monday?
No, I said call back Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
Yes,
Sunday.
sir. Yes, sir.
What's a good time Sunday?
With 12. You in the Eastern time zone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 12 noon. We'll start off with that question.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, when a person asks some questions, you know, I don't like to just give surface answers. I like to give in-depth answers to questions that people ask me, so that, for one thing, I want them to know that I know what I'm talking about. And the other thing is I want them to fully understand what I'm talking about. So this song reminds me of what people do at nursing homes. And how much we should, you know, think about it when you go up there, blasting them out and talking rough to them. Just think about the fact that all day, every day, they doing things for people that most people don't have the patience to do. You understand? So this song After day, I must face a world of strangers where I don't belong, and I'm not that strong. It's nice to know there's someone I can turn to who will always care. You're always there, and there's no getting over the rainbow. When my smallest of dreams won't come true, I can take all the madness the world has to give, but I won't last a day without you. So many times when the city seems to be without a friendly face, such a lonely place, and it's nice to know you'll be there if I need you, and you'll always smile. You make it all worthwhile when there's no getting over the rainbow. When my smallest of dreams will come true, I can take all the madness the world has to give, but I won't last a day without you. Touch me and I end up singing. Trouble seems to up and disappear. Oh, touch me with the love you're bringing. I can't really lose when you're near. If all my friends have forgotten all their promises, they're not unkind, they're just really hard to find. One look at you, and I know that I could learn to live without the rest. Oh, in you I found the best. When there's no getting over the rainbow, when my smallest of dreams won't come true, I can take all the madness the world has to give, but I won't last a day without you. When there's no getting over the rainbow, when my smallest of dreams won't come true, I can take all the madness the world has to give, but I won't last a day without you. Now, you know how many, in less than 3 minutes, that song said more than an hour's worth of preaching. You know how many people's lives have been prolonged because of a nursing home? So, you know, it's really true that some of those people, they wouldn't have lasted another day if it hadn't been for them people in that nursing home. Because they can do for our loved ones that our love just ain't enough. They needed somebody who knew something, know how is what caretakers need. Love ain't enough. So next time you go into any nursing home or whatnot, you just remember those people are all day, every day dealing with all types of things that you know nothing about. So before you go in there talking crazy to them, first thing you need to say is thank you. All right. So I'm going to, we got about 2 minutes. And I meant what I said to the young man that had the question for me about being the Son of Man and all of that. You come in Sunday and ask me, y'all remind me, and don't let me get started before I keep my word to him. So I'm going to let him ask, and whatever other questions he have, he can ask. Because we want everybody to understand. And the only way a person can get understanding is they have to be able to ask questions. So may Allah bless us all, keep us safe and in our right minds. And again, I want to say to all of those who are in nursing homes that spend your time caring for our loved ones, I want to thank you. May Allah bless us all, keep us safe, and grant you all a peaceful night of rest and sleep, and a happy and peaceful morning's rise. May Allah's Assalamu alaikum.
This session is no